In this exercise, we're going to be exploring two different methods of being able to import existing pipeline line work. Currently, I'm in the O1 Importing Existing Pipeline Line Work drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. In the first method, we're going to be importing a KMZ file which was given to us by the client. If you haven't already, I highly recommend that you download a copy of Google Earth Pro, which you can do just a Google search for, download the program, and then when you open it up, go into File, then Open, navigate to your exercise file under KMZ, and then select Existing Pipeline. Then click Open. Google Earth will begin to zoom in to the site, and we can now see in white our existing pipeline. I can turn this on and off if I need to, but this is the existing pipeline that was provided to us by the client that we're going to be replacing certain sections of as we go through this project. Next, I'm going to import this existing pipeline line work KMZ into Civil 3D. I'm going to do this by typing in map import and then navigating to my KMZ folder within my exercise files, select pipeline, then click OK. I'm going to leave everything else at its defaults, and I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. And there you have it. We have our existing pipeline line work. And in fact, if I turn on geolocation, we can see that everything lines up with our aerial. Now, what if the client provided us with a different file format other than a KMZ file for our existing pipeline line work? Well, we can still go through the same method of typing in map import, and instead of KMZ, go ahead and navigate up within your project folder, go into shape, and then we can change the file format type, and we know this is going to be a shape file. Select the shape file format and then select our file, then click OK. I'm going to leave everything else at its defaults, then click OK. And there you have it. And we'll go ahead and check to see if it lines up with our aerial, and it does. So these are just a couple different ways of importing different file formats that you might receive when you're dealing with existing pipeline line work from the client. Alright, so we just finished importing the existing pipeline line work that we received from the client. And now we want to turn that line work into an alignment. Currently, I'm in the O2 Create Existing Pipeline Alignment drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now, as I look at this, what I would like to do is I'd like to turn off my geolocation. I'm going to turn the map off just so I can see my line work. Next, I'm going to go into Home, and I'm going to turn this into an alignment. Within Create Design, select Alignment drop down, and select Create Alignment from Objects. I'm going to select my line work, then press Enter, and I'm going to accept the generalized flow location of my alignment from left to right. I'm going to go ahead and name my alignment. I'm going to turn on all caps, Exist PN for existing pipeline. I'm going to keep everything else at its defaults. We're going to leave the alignment style to existing pipeline, and we've got alignment label set, existing label set. So I'm going to leave that at its defaults. However, this is very, very important. Make sure that you uncheck add curves between tangents, because what's going to happen if you leave this on, it's going to create just some slight curves depending on the default radius along your line work. So for example, if there's a vertex that's formed with your existing pipeline line work, it's going to create a little bit of an arc, and that's something that you don't want to do, especially when it comes to stationing your existing alignment. So we want to keep that off. Next, we're going to leave this checked to erase existing entities, and click OK. And as I zoom in, we now have our alignment and it's stationed. If I select my alignment, I can see within properties that it's an alignment, existing pipeline, and it's on the appropriate style. Next, I want to draw your attention to the beginning of our alignment. Now typically whenever you're dealing with oil and gas pipeline, you can be dealing with miles and miles of pipeline, and most of the time the stationing doesn't begin at 0. So what will end up happening is that the client will supply you with what's known as an alignment sheet. If you go into your exercise files folder, you'll see a little PNG file that says alignment sheet. Go ahead and click on that, and we get a little snippet of this alignment sheet. Now the client has told us that the beginning of the line work that they sent over to us correlates with this tap on our alignment sheet. Let's go ahead and change station 0 to match the beginning of this existing tap. We'll go ahead and select our alignment, right click, select alignment properties, and then within the station control tab you have this station area that currently says 0. However, we can change this. If we highlight that and type in our existing stationing, 163.98, and click apply. Then we get a warning: changing the reference point location or the reference station value may adversely affect objects and data already created from the alignment. Press OK to continue or cancel to abort this operation. We're going to go ahead and click OK. And then click OK once again. And now if we zoom in, I'm going to escape out of the command, select this little tick, click and drag this grip, and now this station matches our alignment sheet. So let's escape out of this command, and we're going to perform a quick check. I'm going to zoom out a bit from my drawing, and I'm going to turn on my aerial photo. I'm going to look within this region over here, and notice that our pipeline more or less lies within this clearing. It continues along this clearing. It goes underneath what looks like a road or a path of some sort, and then ends at our existing tap, which we have shown within our alignment sheet. So if I zoom out a bit and I zoom into the alignment sheet pipeline, our existing pipeline is this blue dashed pipeline. If I zoom in and look over here, I'm seeing that, strangely enough, it follows that clearing within their aerial photo, but it looks like something gets swapped out. Our existing pipeline almost goes under the trees here, and it doesn't look like it follows this clearing. You can even see our path over here. It almost looks like the existing line work that we received from the client might have got confused with another pipeline that's crossing our pipeline. So it looks like there could be some discrepancies between the line work that we received from the client and the existing alignment sheet that we're using for our stationing, because we want to be able to match our stationing with the alignment sheet. However, there could be an error with maybe the aerial photo with the alignment sheet. Who knows? However, we do know that our pipeline replacement is going to be roughly in this region over here, which is within the clearing of this area. So we can get in touch with the client and just let them know of the discrepancy and how they would like to proceed. So after getting in touch with our client, they told us that if we look within this clearing, which correlates with this clearing area within our alignment sheet, if we zoom in, we've got a couple different taps in this area. And if we zoom in even further, the client has told us that this region right here, it almost looks like a squared off region. There's actually an area that has been dug up to show this first tap. which is this one right here. And that correlates to this 176.04. So what we're going to do is we're almost there with our stationing. You can see that we're at about 177. This is at 176.04. So we can tighten this up with our stationing even more by selecting our alignment, right-clicking, going to alignment properties, and for a reference point, I'm going to select this button to pick a reference point. I'm going to go ahead and click OK for this dialog box. And I can roughly select the middle of this rectangular area, the middle of this excavated area. I'm going to select this. And for the stationing, I'm going to change this to 176.04. And click OK. I'm going to click OK for this dialog box. Click OK once more. And there you have it. Let's go ahead and add an alignment label to make sure that it matches this existing tab. Go ahead and go into your Annotate tab, select Add Labels. In your dialog box, select the feature, then alignment, and we want to make sure that it's station offset. Go ahead and leave everything else at its defaults. Let's select Add, then select the existing alignment, and you'll notice that I get this red little grip right along my alignment. Now you'll notice even if I have my grip all the way over here away from my excavated area, and I type in my existing tap stationing, I type in 176 plus 04, you'll notice that after I press enter, there's a line that gets struck from my excavated area. So go ahead and left click without moving your mouse, and then for the station offset you can make that 0. And then exit out of the command, and now you can see that our alignment stationing lines up with that excavated area. So that's what you can do when you're creating a brand new alignment and you're referencing an alignment sheet for oil and gas pipeline. Alright, so now we have our existing pipeline alignment, as you can see here, and we've configured our stationing so that we're right on track with our project. We've also brought in some labels here to show exactly where we're at with our existing pipeline. But now we actually need to bring in some existing surface information so that we can generate our existing profiles. We'll go about doing that by importing a LiDAR XML surface. Now a LiDAR XML surface is kind of a clean version of being able to bring in the surface data into your project. So the way that we'll do this is, before I do that, I'm going to select this label, right click, and I'm going to reset my label. I kind of like it that way a little bit better. I'll zoom out a bit, and currently I'm in the O3 importing LiDAR XML surface drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. So as you can see, we do not have a surface within our tool space. So the way that we go about grabbing a surface is, if we go from the Home tab into our Insert tab, we've got an import panel right here that we can select Land XML. And if you navigate within your project folder, there's an XML folder within your exercise files. Click on EG Surface. Again, this is an XML file. Click Open. Then you get a dialog box for importing Land XML. We're going to leave everything within this panel at its defaults. We're going to click OK, just for simplicity's sake. And we get our existing surface. Now I don't necessarily like that style. Currently that's the standard style. I'm going to click on my surface, right click, Surface Properties. I'm going to change that style. I'm going to change that to existing ground 1 and 5 foot contours. Click OK. And there you have it. So that's how you go about importing XML information into your Civil 3D drawing in order to generate a surface. So now that I have an existing grade surface and an existing pipeline alignment, the only logical next step would be to actually create an existing pipeline profile for my existing grade surface. Now the way that I go about accomplishing that is I go into my profile view. Actually, before I do that, I want to change my viewports to 2 vertical viewports. Kind of makes things a little bit easier for me. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and kind of come maybe somewhere over in this direction. And what I'll do is I'll click on the profile drop down, select create surface profile, and then I'm going to choose my alignment, existing pipeline, existing grade surface. I'm going to click add. Next, I'm going to select draw in profile view. I'm going to leave everything else here at its defaults and select create profile view. My command line is asking me to select a profile view of origin. I'm going to select my viewport and I'm just going to click right over in this area. And we have our existing grade surface. Congratulations. However, it's profiling the entire existing pipeline alignment, and I don't necessarily want to do that. I want to be able to focus in on my project area, which is mostly within this region over here. So what I'd like to do is, first, I don't like this profile view style. I'm going to select my profile view, select style within my properties, and I'm going to select this style that's already pre-made, that's within your exercise files. No bands, no exaggeration. Also, I'd like to get rid of all of these labels. We don't necessarily need them for right now. We'll select the grade breaks, hit delete, select all the slopes, hit delete, and I'd like to change my surface profile style from this white color. It's currently on standard. I'm going to change this to existing ground. So it looks very, very nice. Now, since I don't need this entire profile for the entire pipeline, I want to be able to hone in on a specific range of stations. So the way that I do that, I'll type in viewports once again. 2 vertical viewports. I'll go back over into my project area. This is the area that we're going to be dealing with, roughly at around from 175 to about 178. In fact, what I'll do is I'll create a circle and I'll kind of generate a circle. I'm going to change the color of that to maybe like a green so I can easily tell where I'm at in my project. And where am I at? Well, I'm about 174 to 178. So what I'll do is I'll go into my profile and I'll select my profile, right click, profile view properties, and I'm going to specify a range. What did I say, 174 to about 178. I'm going to apply that, and now I've just got that particular section. So I'm only dealing with this area. I type in viewports once again, so I can bring back my 2 vertical, and I can see my project area once again. So that's how you go about profiling an existing pipeline grade within a certain station range in Civil 3D. Now I'd like to create a feature line from my existing pipeline alignment. Currently, I'm in the 05 creating a feature line from pipeline alignment drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now I'll start off by going to my Create Design panel, select the feature line drop-down, then select Create Feature Lines from Alignment. Go ahead and select your existing pipeline alignment. Then we get a dialog box here. We have our existing grade profile, which was generated from the profile that we just created. For the style of our feature line, rather than standard, I want it to stand out a little bit more. There's a style here called Basic Feature Line. We'll check that. Then we'll uncheck Create Dynamic Link to the Alignment. I don't necessarily want this feature line to be attached to the alignment. I want it to be somewhat separated. So then I'll go ahead and click OK. Then we have the opportunity to weed out the vertices, which means that we can more or less kind of weed out all of these different vertices that generate more data within our drawing. And we don't necessarily want to do that, but I don't want to accomplish that in this particular way. And I'll show you why in the future. I'm going to go ahead, and as you can see, we've got about 673 vertices that are within this current feature line. So that's a lot of data. I'm going to click OK. And now if I select my feature line, you can see that we've got all these vertices that are showing up over here. What I'm going to do to eliminate some of that data, rather than weeding the vertices, I'm just going to break off my feature line by selecting break, and I'm just going to break it just randomly, just outside of our work area circle. I'm going to delete this portion of the feature line. I'm going to select it over here. I'm going to select break feature line. I'm going to break it from here to here, roughly. Select this piece. I'm going to delete that piece. So we're only dealing with our work area. So it eliminated a lot of those vertices, a lot of that data. So when you have a lot of data within your drawing, then it slows your drawing down, and we don't necessarily want that. So now what I would like to do is I would like to take the feature line that's picking up all the vertice points from my existing grade surface. I want to drop that down by about 3 feet. The reason is we're usually about 3 feet of cover for an existing pipeline. So the way that I do that is I select my feature line, go up into Edit Elevations, and select this button, Raise and Lower. But before I do that, what's my grade within this area right here? Within this magenta circle. If I select Quick Elevation Edit, and I select this vertice within this magenta circle, it's about 1044.89. We're going to drop this down 3 feet. So we're going to select our feature line, select this button, Raise and Lower, and we're going to come down at a difference of -3 feet. So where does that put our elevation vertice right here? There we go, 1041.89.7. So it's 3 feet below our existing grade. So that's how you go about creating a feature line from your existing pipeline alignment and doing an offset by raising and lowering in order to generate the existing cover for your existing pipe. Now we're going to generate an existing pipeline network from our feature line that we've offsetted by 3 feet, 3 feet below existing grade. Currently, I'm in the 06 creating a pipe network from a feature line drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now we have our existing feature line that's already been offset, again, 3 feet from our existing surface. Now what I want to do is I want to go up into my Create Design panel, select Pipe Network. Now I want to create a pipe network from an object, which would be our feature line. Select this, select the green feature line, which is an auto feature line from our alignment. And you see all these arrows? I want these arrows to flow from left to right. So I'm going to reverse this direction. I'm going to press enter once again. And within this dialog box, I want to create a network name of existing pipe network. For the parts list, I want to change this to pipe existing. Gives us a fresh set of pipes to work with. And I want to go with ductile iron. And I want it to be 8-inch ductile iron. There we go. For surface name, we're going to go with our existing grade. Alignment name, we're going to go with existing pipe network. And now I want to erase the feature line once I've created this pipe network. And I want to use the vertex elevations of my feature line for this pipe. For the vertex elevation reference, we're going to go, I want the top, the outside top of my pipe to snap against that feature line elevation. Click OK. And it looks like nothing has happened. However, if I go into pipe networks, we have an existing pipe network here, and we've got all of these pipes listed, but for whatever reason in plan view it's not showing up. What's the reason for that? Well, it's the style. If I right click on my properties and go into the style, you'll see within plan view for display everything's turned off. However, if I turn on pipe centerline, click apply, then OK once again, then it shows up. But I don't necessarily want to change the style. I want it to be hidden. So I'm going to undo all of that. I'm going to select my existing pipe network, right click, hit select, then you can see all of our pipes. And I'm going to go into my profile, right click, and select Draw Parts in Profile View. If I select my pipe, I want to change the pipe style. If I select Profile, for the outside pipe walls, the gray is a little bit too dark against this, or it's a little bit too hard to see against this black background. I'm going to change it to white. Click Apply, then OK. Now you can see all of our existing gas pipeline. And in fact, we can even do a check. I'm going to throw a dimension here from one of the vertex elevations to my existing grade right here, and we're at 3 feet. So that's how you go about generating a pipe network from a feature line in Civil 3D. Alright, so we've generated our existing profile. We have our existing grade shown as well as our pipe network that's been projected into this profile. Currently, I'm in the 07 copying and adjusting a static profile drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now, as I pan throughout this profile, I'm noticing that there's a little bit of irregularity with our existing pipeline. As you can see, our pipe obviously doesn't do this sort of thing. It's taking its cues from our existing grade. So what we're going to have to do is actually delete our pipe network and reproject that back into our profile view. But first, we do need to adjust our existing profile to get rid of this little dip. So what I'll do first is I'm going to go into my pipe networks. I'll select my existing pipeline, right click, and select delete. Select yes to delete all of these structures. And now what I'll do is currently, if I select my existing pipeline grade, look under properties, and we have a profile update mode. Currently it's set to dynamic. We want to change this and set it to static so that we can edit our geometry. So we get all of these little grips when we do that. And when you right click and select Edit Profile Geometry, we get our Profile Layout Tools toolbar. Select this button right here to delete PVI. We select this and we come in close to our area and we just start clicking within this area, and slowly but surely all of these little ticks will go away. So much so that once we've finished with that, we'll press enter to accept. And now we need to create a copy of this profile. If you notice now, our profile name is called Surface 2. I'm going to come over here, select this button, copy profile. We're going to accept all of these defaults. We're going to create a new profile, click OK. And now I'm going to press escape and press this profile once again. And now you can see that we have Surface 2 copy. I'm going to rename this to top of pipe. Press enter. Then I'm going to change the style from existing ground to top of pipe. And I'm going to offset this line 3 feet below my existing grade. I'll do that by selecting this button. Raise and lower PVI elevation. Elevation change, we're going to go with -3. Then click OK. And there you have it. Now that we've generated an existing top of pipe, which is shown with this cyan line within our profile, we can actually generate a feature line from this profile geometry. Currently, I'm in the 08 creating a feature line from profile geometry drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. So the way that I accomplish this, I'll go ahead up to my feature line drop down, select create feature lines from an alignment. I'm going to select my existing pipeline alignment. And now within profile, rather than surface 2, I'm going to select top of pipe. And for the style, I'm going to select basic feature line. Then I'm going to uncheck create dynamic link, then click OK. I'm going to click OK for this dialog box right here. And if I zoom out, I now have my feature line. I'm going to go ahead and trim out my feature line. Select this break tool. I'm just going to randomly break my feature line out here and in this region as well. I'll delete this. So now I just have a feature line within my workable area. Now I'm going to select the pipe network drop-down, select create pipe network from object, and I'm going to select my feature line. I'm going to reverse the flow direction. Press enter once again. I'm going to name my pipe network once again existing PN. I'm going to change my network parts list to pipe existing. Select ductile iron pipe, and this is an 8-inch pipe. I'll leave everything else as defaults. And I'm just going to check use vertex elevations because it's going to use the feature line to generate the top of pipe elevation. I'll specify outside top, then click OK. And now, if I zoom out a bit, and I go into pipe networks, expand this, expand once again, I'm going to select existing pipeline network, right click, hit select, right click once more, draw parts in profile view, and lastly I'll select my profile view. And there you have it. So that's just another way of being able to generate your existing pipe networks using a feature line generated by profile geometry. In this exercise we're going to be adding some labels to our profile. Currently I'm in the 09 adding depth of cover labels to profile drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to down in the description below. Now, as this drawing indicates, we're going to be adding some depth of cover labels to our profile. And the way that we start off by doing that is we're actually going to be creating a separate pipe network that is going to be full of what they call null structures. Now, null structures can be within your parts list, but they don't have any dimensional information. So they're essentially empty structures. We'll begin by turning off a few items, such as our surface. I'm going to select my surface. I'm going to right click, select surface properties. I'm going to go into my style, and I'm just going to turn off my contours. I'll apply this, press OK. And then even my feature line, I'm going to select it, right click, select Edit Feature Line Style. I'm just going to turn off the visibility of this and click OK. I'm going to go ahead and create my null structure network. I'll expand my networks here, right click, and select Create Pipe Network by Layout. For network name, I'm going to call this DOC. I'll use caps here, DOC, which stands for Depth of Cover, Null, for null structures. For the parts list, I'm going to change this to Planimetric Features Cyan. These structures are going to come in as a bright cyan color when we put them in. For surface name, we'll specify our existing grade. Then we'll leave everything else at its defaults and click OK. So now we get our Network Layout Tools toolbar. Make sure within your drop-down menu here that you have selected Structures Only. We'll click this, and then at every vertice within our alignment, within our work area, I'm just going to begin to snap to the endpoint of each vertice. You can see our null structure begin to come into form here. I'm going to select the vertice here, select the vertice here. Okay, and then we come to the end here, and there we go. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select my structures, right click on Depth of Cover Null, select all of these, and I'm going to draw these in my profile view. I'm going to project them into my profile view. And as you can see, we have these little tick marks that show up along our existing grade, which shows up very, very nicely. Now, the next thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to specify these null structures as a 3-foot depth of cover, because I'm going to be using labels to show up here at the top of my profile. I'll begin by coming in, and I'm going to expand my null structures, select structures, and I'm going to give these all a description all at once. I've got all of my null structures listed. I'm going to right click on description, select edit. I'm going to type in 3.0 feet DOC. Press enter, and it all populates very, very nicely. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show some of my profile labels. Right in my profile grid here, I'm going to select my profile. Actually, before I do that, I'll go ahead and close out of my toolbar. I'm going to open up my viewport so you can see just a large profile view here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to select my profile, right click, select Profile View Properties. And then for my bands, I'm going to come in, and on Profile Data, which is going to show down here at the bottom, you can see bottom of Profile View for location. I'm going to leave it on the band style of elevations and stations. I'm going to click Add. I'm going to select all of these profile points, leave it at its defaults, then click OK. Then I'm going to click Apply. Then you can see all of our profile information being populated. Next, I'm going to go into my drop down and select pipe data because we want our depth of cover labels to show up. For the band style, I'm going to change this to top bar. And then for location, I'm going to choose the top of my profile view. I'm going to go ahead and click Apply, and then just scroll over to the right and make sure that my data source is correct. because I can choose either the existing pipe network or my null structures. I want to make sure that my depth of cover null is selected. Click apply, then OK. And now you can see we now have depth of cover labels on our profile. And in fact, we can kind of adjust these labels as well. I'm going to hold down Control to select one of these labels. I'm going to click and drag with this grip with my ortho on, just so that we have no label overlap. And there you have it. So this is just a way to be able to add depth of cover labels to your existing pipeline profile within Civil 3D. In this exercise, we're going to be creating our proposed pipeline alignment from a copy of our existing pipeline alignment. Currently, I'm in exercise 10, creating proposed pipeline alignment drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to down in the description below. So as we get into our drawing, again, we can select our existing gas pipeline, which you can see here. I'm going to escape out of that command. And then I'm going to go up into my Home tab, and then into my Create Design panel, select the Alignment drop-down, and then select Create Alignment from Existing Alignment. Our command line is asking us to select an alignment or press Enter to select from a list. I'm just going to go ahead and select our existing alignment. And now we get this little station range icon that shows up. And our command line is asking us to specify a split point on the alignment. What I want to do is I want to select the beginning or the end point of my alignment right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Enter to select the end. Press Enter to select the end. And if we zoom out, you can see that all of our existing pipeline alignment is highlighted. And this is what we want. So after doing this, we'll type in our command line F for finish. Then we get our Create Alignment from Existing Alignment dialog box. For a name, I'm just going to call this PROP PN for Proposed Pipeline. And then for alignment style, I'm going to switch this to Proposed Pipeline. And then for alignment label set, I'm just going to leave this on Proposed and select OK. And now you can see that we have our red proposed pipeline alignment. Now if we go ahead and create our profile, I'm going to zoom out a bit here, and then I'm going to go into Profile, Create Surface Profile. I'm going to choose my brand new proposed pipeline alignment, add my existing grade surface, and then draw in my profile view. I'm going to change my profile view style here with no bands. Select Create Profile View. I'm going to select over here. You see how long this profile view is? This is what makes it very, very difficult to find where our work area is located. This is just such a long range of pipeline. So instead of doing this, what I'd like to do is I'm going to delete this. I'm going to also delete my brand new proposed pipeline alignment. Select this, right click on that, hit select, then hit delete. Okay? Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually trim down my existing gas pipeline alignment by selecting it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select Edit Alignment Geometry. And then I'm going to select this button right here within my toolbar, Delete Sub-Entity. I'm going to come out just outside of my green work area circle. I'm just going to come out to about maybe right here and delete this portion. And in fact, I can come out and zoom out here and just begin selecting all of these entities. I want to start deleting all of these sub-entities. Just that line work. Outside of here, I'm going to press enter to accept this, and you'll see how our station has changed. Actually, our stationing hasn't changed, it just doesn't show up to include all of the beginning alignment information. I'm going to do it for the other side as well. I'm going to select my existing gas pipeline once again. I'm going to select this button once again, and I'm going to come out just a bit, maybe about right here, and delete this portion. And then again, begin deleting all of my sub-entities. Now by doing this, this will eliminate some of the data that gets created when you're creating a brand new alignment, because the longer the alignment is, the more information it has to grab from the existing grade surface. And the more information that's there, the slower our drawing will become. All right, we're getting close to the end here. Now I'm going to press enter to accept this. As you can see, we are now just showing this portion of our existing pipeline alignment. Now I'm going to create a copy of this alignment for our proposed. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit here. Go up into alignment. Once again, create alignment from existing alignment. This time I'm going to select from a list. I'm going to press enter this time. I'm going to select existing pipeline. I'm going to go from the endpoint here to the end. I'm going to press enter. Selects our entire pipeline. Then type in F for finish. Now we're going to type in proposed PN, alignment style proposed, and click OK. And now we have, again, our proposed pipeline alignment. Now I'm going to create another surface profile. Select proposed, add the existing grade surface, create profile view, change the profile view to no bands. We're going to create our profile view right next to our existing, roughly about right here. And now it's not as long as what it was previously. And in fact, I'm going to match my stationing from my existing pipeline. I'm going to go from 174 to 178. Select my profile view properties, specified range 174 to 178. And click OK. And what about the height of this profile view? We go from 940 to 1100. Right click. Elevations. 940 to 1100. Click OK. And I'm just going to delete out these labels here. We don't necessarily need them. And I'm going to change the profile view style of our existing grade to, you got it, existing ground. And there you have it. We have our proposed pipeline alignment made from a copy of our existing pipeline alignment. So that's how you go about making copies of your alignments within Civil 3D. In this exercise, we're going to be masking out portions of our proposed pipeline alignment. Currently, I'm in exercise 11, masking an alignment drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now, what is the purpose of masking out our alignment? Well, within the context of oil and gas pipeline, there are times to where maybe we're only going to be replacing from station 174 to 178. However, maybe there's a point in time to where the client would rather extend our replacement from 173 to, I don't know, 179. So we want to give ourselves a little bit of leeway within our proposed pipeline alignment so that we're showing exactly what the client wants to replace. So for example, if I come into my proposed pipeline alignment and I select it and I right click and I select alignment properties, within the alignment properties dialog box there's a tab for masking. If I go into masking regions and select add masking region, I can go ahead and select from the beginning of this, which is 172.97. I'm going to type in end for my endpoint snap. And then I'm going to go over to station 174. And I'm going to type in INT for intersection right at that station. So I have my first masking region. If I click apply, then OK, then you can see that our proposed pipeline begins at station 174. However, maybe the client comes back and says, no, we want to begin our pipeline replacement at station 173. Well, I can go ahead and select my pipeline alignment once again, and then right click, select alignment properties. Now instead of 174 for my end station, I'm going to click this region right here. I'm going to type in 173. Press enter, then OK. And now our pipeline starts at station 173. Well, what if I want to go right back to the original state of my pipeline? I right click, select alignment properties. I don't necessarily have to delete these masking stations. I can just uncheck the mask, click apply, then OK, and it goes right back to its original state. However, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and right click, select alignment properties. I want to switch this back to have an end station of 174. I'm going to click on the end station again, and then I'm going to check this little button right here, and this will allow me to select at station 174 dynamically. I'm going to hit Control, then right click, and then select the intersection of this station right here at 174. Then if we zoom out, it looks like nothing has happened. Well, what's going on here? Well, we need to turn on our masking once again. Right click and select alignment properties, and then check this box for the mask. Click apply, then OK, and there you have it. I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to come over here. I want the end of my proposed pipeline to end at 178. So I'm going to select my proposed pipeline, right click, select alignment properties. I'm going to add another masking region. And I'm going to go from 178, hold down Control, right click, select intersection right here, and then I'm going to go all the way to the end. I'm just going to hover right over this grip, select it, hit apply, then OK, and there you have it. So that's how you can go about using alignment masks to your advantage in Civil 3D. In this exercise, we're going to be creating our proposed pipeline profile. Now this is going to be an inline replacement, and we're going to start off by going into our exercise file, which is exercise 12, creating a proposed pipeline profile drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now in this drawing, we have our proposed pipeline profile grid already set up here. and we went ahead and generated our existing ground profile. Now we're running into the same issue that we had before, where we've got these little indentations within our existing ground, and I don't necessarily want to have this showing up in my profile. So I'm going to change this profile update mode from dynamic to static. And this will give me the option to select my profile, right click, select edit profile geometry, and again I'm going to go ahead and begin to delete some PVIs. I'm going to start clicking around in this area. You can see how these PVIs are disappearing. That looks good. How about anywhere else? Do we have any odd indentations within our existing grade surface? That looks about right. I'm going to go ahead and select my grade once again. Then I'm going to select this button to copy the profile. I'm going to create a brand new profile. This is going to be the top of my proposed pipe. Select OK. I'm going to press Escape. Then I'm going to select my profile again. And this is our copy. I'm going to call this top of pipe. Press enter to accept that. And then I'm going to drop this down by selecting raise lower PVIs. And the elevation change is going to be -3 feet. Click OK. And I'm going to change the style of this from existing ground to top of pipe. And there you have it. I'll go ahead and close out of my Layout Tools toolbar and zoom out a bit so I can see the rest of my profile view. I'm going to add some elevations by station down here at the bottom. I'm going to add that as a band, just like I did with the existing profile. So I'm going to select my profile view, right click, then select Profile View Properties. And again, just like with the existing profile view, I'm going to add my profile data. The band style is going to be elevations and stations. I'm going to add this to my profile. And we want to make sure that our existing profile grade is at the top. And for profile 2, we want to make sure that our top of pipe is selected. Click Apply, then OK. And so now we have our existing grade showing up in gray, and the top of our proposed pipe is going to be shown as this bright yellow elevation. In this exercise, we're going to be creating our proposed pipeline pipe network. Currently, I'm in exercise 13, creating a proposed pipeline pipe network drawing, which is located in your tutorials folder, which you can find a link to in the description down below. Now we have our proposed pipeline alignment, and we're going from station 174, and the client wants to go from 174 to station 178. So what we'll do first is we'll go ahead and generate our feature line from the top of pipe profile that we just generated from the last exercise. So we'll come in to our Home tab, go ahead and go into Feature Line, and then we're going to create feature lines from alignment. We'll select our proposed pipeline alignment. Then we get our Create Feature Line from Alignment dialog box. For the profile, we'll select top of pipe. We'll leave everything else at its defaults, but we'll uncheck Create Dynamic Link to the alignment. We'll click OK, and then OK once more. And now we have our auto feature line. Now this feature line is going to generate our pipe network. So we'll come into Pipe Network, create Pipe Network from Object, and we'll select our auto feature line. We'll accept the flow direction, press enter, and for network name, we're going to call this Proposed PN. For the parts list, we'll select Pipe Existing. And then for the pipe, This is going to be a ductile iron pipe, and it's going to be an 8-inch replacement. We'll keep everything else at its defaults. We'll erase the entity, which is our feature line, once we've generated our network. We'll use vertex elevations. We're going to use the outside top of the pipe as our vertex. Then click OK. And it doesn't look like anything's happened here. However, if I come into my pipe networks, expand networks, we have our proposed pipe network. Go ahead and right click on this, hit select, and we have something generated here. We'll come into our proposed pipe network, right click, and select draw parts and profile view. And as of right now, it looks like we just have an existing pipeline, but if I expand my pipe network, select pipes, I'm going to change the style of my pipe. I'm going to select Control A to select all. I'm going to right click over style, select edit, change it from existing to proposed, click OK, and now we have a proposed inline replacement from 174 to station 178. Now what if the client comes to you and says that they would like to change the stations of the proposed pipeline replacement? In other words, rather than going from station 174 to station 178, they would like to shorten up the replacement due to costs and whatnot to go from 175 to station 177. Well, it would be easy in the beginning to just come in here and just select our proposed pipeline from our network, right click on this, hit pipe properties, and then select a different style. But you'll see that as we change the style of this, we're going to be running into issues once we get to station 175. We can't just outright change this portion of pipe to reflect the changes in our stations. So what we'll need to do is find a way to be able to cut our pipe right at 175 and at station 177. But to do that, I actually have to delete my proposed pipe network. I'll hit yes. And I need to actually edit my proposed top of pipe profile by selecting it, right clicking, hit edit profile geometry, and I'm going to add a PVI right at that grid line for 175. So I'm going to control right click, hit intersection right here, and then at 177 at that grid line, control right click, intersection right here. I'll close out of all of this, and I'll pan over to my plan view, and I'm going to generate my auto feature line. Hit feature line, generate feature lines from alignment, select my proposed alignment once again. For the profile, we'll select top of pipe. We'll uncheck this once again, hit OK once again, and now we're going to generate our proposed pipe network again. Create pipe network from object, select our auto feature line, accept the flow direction. This will be proposed PN once again, parts list, pipe existing, 8-inch ductile iron, erase existing entity, vertex, outside top, then click OK. We have our proposed pipe network once again, but now if I select it, right click on this, hit select, right click again, draw parts and profile view, and select our profile view once again. And what I'll do is I'll come into 175, and now I have a clean break right at station 175. So I'm going to change the pipe style at 175 to be proposed. Like so, right at 175. And then at 177, we chop that right at that 177 station grid line. And I'm going to change this to proposed as well. Now, what if you have just a gigantic pipeline that you're replacing, but you don't know where your start and ends might be? Well, if you come into your proposed PN, hit pipes, you might have a bunch of segments. However, we have the beginning of our proposed style right here. And here's the end. So let's change all of these pipes in between to proposed. I'll go from this, shift select to the second proposed, right click, hit edit, and make sure that this is proposed, hit OK. And now our style is reflecting our proposed pipeline replacement just as the client has requested.